satisfy the agenda item. And while he does that, I understand, yes, last week or on Saturday, in my absence, I wasn't here, and I apologize for that. I do a lot of traveling. And there seemed to be something that came up about financials required by or requested by the council or by the chamber. I've never received a formal request for chamber financials. Typically, when we talk about financials in dealing with the city, we're talking about Convention Visitor Bureau financials. So maybe there was a miscommunication. I want to say that. And then number two, probably that request should come through CAMI. And then most importantly, what I want to say is each month you should be receiving those through the liaison. We have two people that represent the city in some form or fashion that receives these monthly financials that the chamber distributes to its board each and every month. That would be on the fourth Tuesday at 7:30 at our board meeting. Your liaisons receive them. So last year was Jerry Edgen and Kathy, and this year, of course, James has replaced Jerry. And so if that's a formality, whatever formality you like, then we're happy to oblige. But I'd like to just say that. What I've distributed to you is the first page that you see is the SolJazz Statement of Income and Expenses. And let me go through item by item so that you're clear. The funds received from the hot funds, a special request, as you recall, last August 25th, you agreed to give us $130,000 to put on a music festival. There were funds that we received for specifically for the police somewhere in the course of the May or so for $5,760. There was funds that was allocated from our FY 2011 and FY 2012 budget that was allocated. We'll talk about that a little later. And there was an advance from a board member for $27,000 for a total funding of $213,000 and to approximately $213,700. On the sales side, for total sales for tickets, parking, and especially as it relates to the day event, was $44,006. We received money from sponsors in the amount of $33,003, and other events was about $11,873 for a total sales that the SolJazz generated was $89,824. Total cash source was $303,522. When you add the funding from the hot funds and advances plus the sales, you get $303,500. This is the cash basis. The cash paid for project management fee was $101,004. We paid for security for $12,080. Marketing expense was $46,003. Event expense $14,068. Talent $104,790. Miscellaneous $1,348, and we had sales tax that was generated through the sales of selling tickets for the event for $4,000 for a total expense of $284,000. Total net cash available is $19,515. We have outstanding claims and advances and unpaid invoices. We went through a great deal of time to try to understand our project managers' outstanding vendors that had not been paid. And the course of that type of audit went on for about 45 days. Through that process, we were able to identify that and verify that the unpaid third-party claims by our event manager was $74,618. And there is another additional $13,000 that we have not verified, which gives us an outstanding claims of $87,693.
Pardon me,
Yes.
are you videoing?
Yes. It's an open meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct, but what's your purpose?
Just,
Are you with the press?
no, I'm just a citizen of DeSoto, and I'm trying to get all these numbers, and it's really hard to get all this really quick, so that way I can just get it in. Yeah.
What did you ask?
No, the reason I asked that question is because
Yeah.
I was just at Dallas County Commissioners Court, and they were going over that. Now, Dallas County Commissioners Court is a different, entity, but
What's your objection, Mr. Mayor?
I didn't have an objection.
Good.
Mr. McDonald, we are neighbors. You talk as though you have some conspiracy theory going on before this meeting. So that's the reason I asked, is because I noticed that there is, the young lady next to you, and she's got a camera. And I noticed she doesn't turn it on herself.
There's a lot of conjecture going on.
Yeah.
Thanks for your accusation, though. I appreciate
That
that.
was just
That
out
wasn't an
there.
accusation.
No, you made an accusation that I've got some conspiracy thing going on, and I don't know what you're talking
Let's
about.
get this back in order.
That there's some paranoia.
Let's get this back in
The
order.
question was if she was filming, the answer is yes. And it's not disallowed.
And you don't have an objection.
Counsel,
Let's move on.
you know what's been going on. And so I hope that you understand why I asked the question.
Paranoia.
The Hitler videos. No, I mean, that's got to
Oh,
stop,
gosh.
And so, it's unfortunate, and some around this table have been shown those things, and you say nothing about it. Continue on.
So we were on the unverified third-party claim.
For $13,075 for a total outstanding of $87,000, almost $7,000. And plus the unreimbursed advance from board member of $27,118, unsubstantiated gemstone claims of $67,000 for an additional other claims of $94,005.
Okay, even ask you a question about the third-party claim part. This, the 13075? You all have those invoices, just ain't got a chance to review those.
We've gotten a chance, actually, I can't speak to that, that would be Maurice, but they have not complied to our inquiry. In other words, when you go out for an audit, you have to get a response. This amount of money was not responsive.
Who's doing the audit? Is it the attorney?
The attorney.
And can you explain the difference between the third-party claims, the unsubstantiated claims, and other claims?
The total other claims is $94,000, $94,005.
Oh, that's just the total of them?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the difference between the, unsubstantiated gemstone claims
Okay.
and the third-party claims?
The third-party claims are claims that have been verified, that are outstanding, that have not been paid by anyone who perform services, and our board member, who is acting in our best interest, has gone out and verified with those third-party vendors that they have performed these services. They have a contract with Gemstone or some paper that says that they're due these expenses, and they have not been paid.
Okay, okay. Got it.
That same process was taken with the folks who make up the 13,000, and that's just a matter of time before we'll get information about that.
And there is a process going on that will also substantiate or unsubstantiate the gemstone claims.
Yes, that is a legal process.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
Well, since we're talking about gemstone, has gemstone been paid anything?
Yes.
Or is that-
Yes.
Maybe we can.
Project management fee.
Oh, I see, the 12.
$101,400.
Cash expenses.
And some of these other expenses that they have paid, and those items are categorized as such that you see below.
Sorry about that, I see that now.
Eve, what are they protesting as far as the amount that they are due?
Who is that?
Gemstones.
I'm not at best liberty to speak about gemstone in any form or fashion.
Okay. Certainly our contract relationship is with Chamber.
Yes.
And not Gemstone.
Yes.
Steve, did you say that the Chamber of Commerce has a contract with Gemstone?
Yes.
Did you bring a copy of that contract?
No. Okay, we would like to move on to the next page. Oh, let me explain the asterisk on the bottom. Unofficially, the school district, who was, we have two contracts, one with the school district and one with Gemstone. The only two contracts we have. The school district has mentioned that in our negotiations with them, we had a $10,000 fee on top of their expenses, and they have talked about forgiving the fee.
So you can answer your question?
Yes.
Are there any other debts other than what's listed right on this page right here?
There are no other debts listed. As far as we know, what we've done is we have been in through a lot of time and trouble and exercise, and we have tried to find out everyone that had performed or provided some type of service for this event and have not been paid. And to our best ability, these are the people here. Or this is the amount. Now, below there is another figure, other than the 10,000 that is not mentioned for the school district. There's another amount that we received late last week or sometime earlier that we have not been able to substantiate, and it is not included anywhere here, and that is a bill by the Marriott Town Suites.
So to the best of your knowledge, there's no other debts, to the best of your knowledge, there's no other debts what's listed right in this first page.
Right, but keep in mind, we did not make any debt, so we're only going by what we've discovered through review and audit.
So I want to make sure I understand. So are you saying that Gemstone did not, maybe you're not saying this, but just clarify it for me, that Gemstone did not come in and sit down with you to make sure, you meaning the chamber, that the contracts they negotiated with, for example, the entertainers and the talent, as is listed here, that it was strictly an agreement between Gemstone and the talent, or whatever entity it was, and that you, according to your contract, did not, you didn't sign off on any of that?
I'm not at liberty to talk about Gemstone at all because it is in litigation.
Can I ask another question?
Oh, that's not good.
Okay. Let's go back to this advance from board member. Is that the board as a whole put that money up, or does one individual put it up, and what was that for, and why was the board member advancing money?
Well, if you were at the concert, you probably were there, you probably, hopefully, was having a good time, but you did notice a delay. That delay was from lack of funds. In order to not have an embarrassment of the city and all my city council members sitting down in front, an embarrassment for the chamber, an embarrassment for, or this we consider is the beginning of something that DeSoto wants to do. Although we would like to have had a great success the first year, we did not. And most of events like this, it takes a while before you actually reap the benefits of it, and that your community reaps the benefit of it, and that your hotels have people that stay, and that your vendors and your nearby businesses reap the benefit, because it takes time. I think we did a great job on getting the word out there. However, we didn't have enough money to pay the artists to perform. So I went to the bank and I was without my system.
So, on the eve of the event,
On the day.
on the day of the event itself,
Day.
you personally put in this money to make sure what?
That the show went on.
If you had not put the money in, what would have happened?
We would have still owed the bills, and probably we'd be all embarrassed at this point.
So you would have still had this debt of $162,000, but you would have no show
Yes,
on June 9th.
in my opinion.
So the 27K is what really assured that the talent will continue to perform.
Or start.
That's okay.
Is it still unreimbursed?
No, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that whenever we get through asking questions.
No, she asked if it's still unreimbursed.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, all right,
The answer is yes.
okay.
Is that true?
Yes.
Thank you, because I was thinking it was, okay.
So, no, unreimbursed.
It's down here below total net cash. That's why it's 27's.
Right.
19 is
What
below.
the total net cash is showing you,
It's 19.
you're showing you the total amount of proceeds received,
No,
less the
below
total
the
amount
net
of
cash.
cash.
Is
It's all on a cash basis, cash paid.
It's still outstanding, almost
Okay,
outstanding
so-
right here.
The only thing that's been paid is basically anything
Almost
up
outstanding.
above.
Total expenses paid.
Right.
We paid $284,000.
Gotcha. Okay.
Are we ready to move to the next sheet?
So,
Is there any more questions on this sheet?
So, do we know for sure, I mean, they're officially saying this, school district is official, where do they fit in here? As
The
far
school
as-
district is part of the verified unpaid third-party claims.
Okay.
And actually, they probably shouldn't have been lumped into third-party claims because we did have a contract with them, but they're in there too. And they're in there at 27.
They're at the 74, they're in the 74 range, the 74,618.
Yes.
And
And then Marriott is in the,
Marriott's not in there.
the fee for the 10,000, what was it for?
It was a fee. It was just
Use of the
for use of
stadium?
the stadium.
Okay.
Any other questions? So your agenda item indicated that you wanted to have a full accounting of the SolJazz Festival. That I've just done. The next agenda item was to talk about reallocating existing budget from our FY 2011 budget. The next sheet is that allocation. Now, this information here is what I would present probably on that August 21st. Except that it does go through July, it goes for 9 months, through July 31st, for tourism budget against the actions. And so the first column is your 9 months ending July, into the fiscal year, 9 months ending July 2012. And the amount of money that is there for $161,004 is part of our budget of 155. The variance there is $331, and that's for $6,000, excuse me. That's for poles. So there was an amount of money to put up the sign poles.
To fix the holes.
Yes. Okay. The amount of money there, $60,000, is for the administrative fee for managing the convention business group, for a total of $221,419. The variance there still being the sign poles. There was a balance forward from last year of $28,000, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And interest income for a total of $28,871, for a total proceeds of $250,290. On the expense side, $60,000, of course, went in, it comes out for the administrative part, and then the items that are here listed for advertising and promotion are budget line items. And what I've done is I've given you 9 months ending July 2012. I've projected through September 30th, 2012. And I've measured that against the budget to come up with the variance column.
I need to ask you a question. The 9-month ending, this is year to date?
No, that's fiscal year ending. We start October 1st.
Right, so this isn't year to date?
No, it's year to date once I do project it with the second column. It's a projection for August and September. I'm missing a month.
Okay, so you have 2 months on the projection.
10 months?
Is that right?
I'm sorry.
2 months on the projection?
Yes. So it's 10 months.
August and September.
Okay.
Should be 10. Months. Ten months ending, in part my mistake. At first I was doing this through June, but this being August 7th, I was able to do this through July. I didn't change the title.
That's okay.
Okay. So our printed material was our budget was $15,008. $15,008. Okay, of which we spent $419. Now you might wonder why such a variance. Number one, I'd like you to think that we're good stewards of your money. Number two, we did a lot of print through the SolJazz. That festival consumed most of all the advertising that was out there. The promotion material, typically we hold that for the end of the year because we have to have so much money, and we don't receive our money all at once from you, so we receive our money at the end of the year. Or, I mean, not at the end of the year, quarterly. And once it accumulates, then we go out and buy goodies. We have not done that yet. And we have a substantial amount of goodies left from before. Again.
And what you're calling your goodies or your giveaways that you put in your bag?
Promotional material that we might give to hotels and this and that. Or family reunions, or anytime you guys ask us for stuff promoting the city. The printed advertising is over budget by $57.75. The signage, we had, part of that is the $63.31, as you see in the variance. The $5,000 came from the beginning budget from FY11, where we agreed to pay for the $5,000 for the quarterly expense for the hotels and their signage, so that you didn't have to pay that first. As you took on the hotel allocation, we had paid for their first quarter signage. Brand development, we've gone through that. Instead of $10,000, it was $12,500. Electronic advertising will be almost at budget by September 30th. The event promotions other than SolJazz include other promotions that we've done that was not focused on SolJazz. And then the SolJazz line there is shown there, that $50,820. If you look back at the first sheet, you will see that out of the reason that it's on this sheet alone is because it came from the tourism budget, and you'll see there that $50,820 came from the tourism budget. It is comprised of some of the money that was left from 2011, as well as an amount that was allocated from 2012's budget. The amount allocated was $46,000. The amount we went over budget was $48,20, and mostly to pay the police. The other items here are listed below that have to do with travel. We have a total variance of $9,662. So the total expense for including the $132 miscellaneous checks or whatever we have to do with banking, the total expenses for the 10 months ending for July 2012 is $194,008. When we talk about variance, the box that I have there, the $64,663 there, that's in the box. That amount is the variance of $50,419 plus the amount that wasn't budgeted. I talked about $28,000 being brought forth up at the top, $28,844 being brought forth from 2011, of which we spent $5,000 for the hotel signs. We allocated $16,000 to the SolJazz, and you guys nodded your head in approval when we decided to do that. There was a balance of $7,852 that we didn't allocate to anything, and that's what you see there at the bottom of the budget line. When you take that in consideration with the total proceeds and variance plus the variance in your positive variance for your proceeds, your positive variance, which shows up as a negative number for your expenses, plus your operating income, or the amount that's not allocated from 2011 budget, you get a total of $64,633.
The 28,000 that was left over, we already approved last year, reallocating that money.
Yes.
That's not included in the cost.
No.
No, but I need to show it here.
Right, I understand.
Now,
But the 64,000 includes the balance left of the 28.
including,
64 includes the balance left. The 28 you spent some money.
so the 78,
It's what's left of the 28.
Yes.
And that's 64 includes that balance left.
yes.
7852.
We have a history of approving reallocation in the past.
Your last sheet, remind you, this is simply a reallocation of our existing budget in order to cover the shortages from the event. The available cash, the $19,519 came from your net cash on your front sheet. Okay. Your $62,004, that's an amount of the 64 that we feel that's what we're asking. And so I want to apologize first of all for my colleagues who said $80,000. They saw the bottom line. Okay, it's $62,004.
Okay, the 62.4 is coming from, on the second sheet,
It's yes.
it's coming from the 64,633.
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the 62.4 is what we felt comfortable with, that, given there was no other expenses for FY 2012 for tourism, that this is the amount that we're asking to be reallocated to cover some of the third-party debt.
Okay, so one of the questions I had was, what are we giving up in order to come up with the 62.4? And if I understood you correctly, if I go through on page 2, the items that were not spent is what makes up that amount, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Of the vendors that were not paid, if you're trying to cover in the,
Third page.
yeah, then
Okay.
looking at it.
I'll just go down that list.
62.20.
Okay. So taking in consideration, the proceeds are still available from the SolJazz and the $62,000 reallocation, there's a total of $81,915 to help us eliminate that. There again, you see the $74,618 verified, unpaid, third-party expenses, plus the unverified, assuming that they will be verified, for a total of $87,000. And as is stated, if we reallocate our balance from tourism account, plus the balance left for SolJazz, we would end up with a negative $5,778.
Okay, let me finish the thought again. The vendors who are not paid, we're trying to, I may use the term, make whole in this situation that the chamber is seeking to resolve between Gemstone. And this is, again, our relationship is with, our contract is with the chamber.
Yeah.
But your request to reallocate, I guess I'm interested, just say it, I'm interested in knowing if those are local vendors or what percentage of the vendors are local.
I don't know what percentage of the vendors are local, but I anticipated your question. Here is a list of, now these totals won't match up to the totals that you see, but they'll give you an idea of, they'll give you an idea of, after our audit, who we saw to be. Now, whether or not they're local or not, I would have to ask Maurice if he thought they were local. I have a lot more. So these are some of the vendors that we're looking to pay.
I'll have you done. Okay.
Okay, and this is not going to add up, you said, to the figure
No,
that we
because
had.
some is verified, some is not. This is this total. And I didn't include those that are not versus those that did, but I wanted you to be aware of who these folks were.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, on the last view on the event side, where you have the DeSoto ISD, is that part of the 10,000 is going to be forgiven? Is
Yes.
part of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so of this number,
It's 10,000.
we can deduct the 10K.
Yes, we hope to make that deal.
And I think we need to say maybe forgiven.
Because we haven't,
It's not
it doesn't
confirmed.
require board action.
This is me.
Okay.
But this does not include the gemstone 67,000?
No,
Does not include the board member, you, E, 27,000?
no,
This does not include the town plaza suites, 3,500?
yes.
It does?
No, it does
It does
not.
not.
Yes, it does not.
Okay.
Are there any other, Go ahead.
How do you propose to pay those invoices?
Well, the gemstone invoices will be in limbo for a while. So that I'm not crazy to talk about at all. The amount that's due to me, I don't know.
I think you should be listed as a vendor just like any other vendor.
My allocation of dollars that we have left for available in the tourism will not extend that far.
And how do you propose to pay these outstanding bills?
Well, it's not on the agenda item today. I wanted to make another plea to the city council at some later time. Once we know our exposure to litigation, I already know my exposure, then I want to make another plea.
The scholarships, were those paid?
The scholarships are our board voted right off the bat that those scholarships would be paid under any circumstances. That is $2,000. That is part of the $12,000 here.
Okay, so if you take those off, then that is.
No, I don't take the 2,000 off.
No, I
take
mean
the 10 off.
That's what I was asking.
Yes, they're
That's where the
included.
10.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Eve, are there any other invoices that you may be presented? I mean, it just seems like, you know,
Every
you
week
mentioned
there's been
some
something that-
invoices that are not here. Is this goalpost continuing to move?
I don't think so. I would have to ask my fellow board member if he feels confident that he has reviewed and examined what has been presented to him, number one. And if there's, I mean, just as late as Friday, somebody from the school district forgot to send us a $400 bill. So, but the regularity of those invoices that have slowed down tremendously. So if there are no others, quote unquote, skeletons in the closet, I would assume that this is the total amount I said.
That doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
I did not, since we did not make those bills and we have no clue as to who or those people are, only through discovery, and I'm using that term. I saw my counselor over there, John, because he's like, we're going to really do discovery, but through going through the process that we went through.
It just, I mean, I am not comfortable with that. The only thing that gives me some solace is that that has nothing to do with us.
Yes.
Our attorney has, as all the council members have seen, has advised us that we have no contractual obligation with anyone on this list, nor any of your vendors. But it gives me a lot of heartburn to hear your presentation and this uncertainty, you know, on this. You might say, well, that didn't have anything to do with you, you know, but you'd be right on the fact of these vendors that I just gotta let you know that troubles me.
But it has been 2 months. And you would think at 2 months, anybody who's looking to collect money would submit an invoice. So
You would think that we went through whatever material we were given by the project management team and made these deductions.
And the project management team, I mean, I find it hard to believe that you would be potentially hit with more bills this far down the line.
Well, we don't have a contract with any of those vendors. Okay. However, we feel like we know that some of these folks have performed, if not all of them. And whatever their arrangement was with the project management team is something that we would like to
no benefit to the project management team to not give you all the invoices.
There is none.
I understand your concern, I understand your
Well,
concern.
yeah, and you know, at the same time, I mean, I'm concerned about these business owners. They have families, they get a service, they deserve to be paid.
Yes.
And, you know, that's something that I would hope, and it's my understanding that that's the reason the president had a sense of urgency at the meeting last week in regards to wanting to reallocate your funds on the 2012 budget. Let me just make sure that I understand clearly what you're requesting is approximately $65,000, not from the city, but from your own account, from the chamber's account. You're asking us to authorize you to reallocate those funds to satisfy services that were rendered here to clear your books with them.
Yes.
Mayor, a clarification, it's the chamber's account that the funds are from the hotel occupancy tax.
Yes, we operate two accounts.
Right. Okay.
And so
It's not in
the
the
accounts
chamber.
are under their stewardship.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, our question was answered as we want to make sure that we do our due diligence regarding any legal obligation or liability. And so our question was answered by our attorneys regarding that. Any possibility that any vendor could tie us to a legal obligation. And so I think the entire council was satisfied with that legal opinion. The second question is whether the city can legally reallocate funds for the purpose of the chamber paying the vendors. And the answer that we received in writing from our attorney is yes. So that's really what we've been presented with.
Well, let me ask you a question here. I looked at, you know, I came in here and I thought, I might have a lot of questions for you, and I really only end up with one after listening to this. What you have presented is a fiasco. Complete, unmitigated disaster of management, financial management. And these documents, in and of themselves, would be inadequate for me to act on. I mean, there are too many open-ended, unanswered questions there. But honestly, I probably would still be at this same place if you'd come in with all the detail that I could ever request. And that is, why should this city give money that's the treasurer of the public to bail out the Chamber of Commerce for their inept management of this event?
I would like to probably remind you that we are, as I come in here today, I operate as the convention visitors group. You know me as president of Keep Engineering. You know me as chair of the DeSoto Chamber Board. But today, I am operating as the head of the Convention Business Bureau, as being chair of the chamber. As our task is to help bring in tourism into the city, and that is our task to do. These kinds of events we feel are events that will help do that. The fact that the first year did not turn out well does not mean that it is an event that should go away. It is an event that maybe should be rethought, revisited, and tried again.
You're telling me that an event, if I take your ticket sales in total and divide it by $40, and I don't know what ultimately, take the lowest number that you sold tickets for, that's 1,100 tickets. That's a catastrophe to me. And that we should try this again. I mean, this thing's going to end up costing the city more than $300,000.
The city?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the city as, I don't want to be.
Those monies are all under this, under the administration, control, and responsibility. We're the fiduciaries for all of that money,
Yes.
regardless of which pot it's in. We're fiduciaries for the utility money, we're fiduciaries for the general fund money, we're fiduciaries for the hot fund money, we're fiduciaries for the DEDC money. And as such, we have a responsibility to citizens of this town for the proper, reasonable, sound use of that. And, you know, you guys sound like you're in litigation with, you know, with other folks. There's a lot of money owed, and this is nothing more than a bailout. And I'm just asking, why should we bail you out?
Well,
Or why should we? It's not, well, it is you, and I'm so sorry that, you know, you're a very astute businesswoman, and I'm sorry that, you know, you personally are in this thing for what is a substantial sum of money. But, you know, why should we bail out this, the Chamber of Commerce and the Convention Visitors Bureau? Why?
Mainly, it's because nothing ventured, nothing gained, okay? This event, as like any other events that the city might do, is either a winner or it's not. If we decide to ever build an event center, okay, it may fail the first 3 years to be a positive number. But in at the end of the day, you have to make a stand, you have to do something in order to, if you're going to become a destination city, you have to move along in that direction. And so this did not turn out to be the best event, but it certainly, I think, I still will stand that it's on the right track. Perhaps it needs to be smaller, perhaps it needed to have different talent, perhaps it needed to be managed by somebody different, maybe it needed another venue, maybe it needed another time of month, another time of year, but it is certainly something that matches the mission of the city.
Eve, I'm not going to disagree in general with that statement at all. You know, this is something we look about. What I am more than disturbed about was the incompetent management of this event. You know, how'd you get into this? I mean, and I don't want to go down the path of how you got into it. You're in it. You know, why should the city give you 1 cent of public money to manage beyond this point?
I'm not at this point asking for additional money. I'm asking for reallocation of a budget that we already have.
We committed that money for a purpose within that budget. A purpose within that budget. If we reallocate that money, we are simply abating or putting aside that purpose. But that will not happen because there's not money to make it happen. And what we're doing is bailing out this event, which was a disaster.
Some of the money that we did not spend in this account had to do with the fact that we had an event that went on that that replaced some of the things that we could have done or that we didn't do.
You had a budget that you submitted and we approved, and you know, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, if you didn't use that money for the purposes approved, you ought to give it back.
Now, last year when we talked about the 28,000, you thought we ought to keep it and
Yeah.
reallocate it.
All
I
right.
just want to be on record to say that. I'm
That's
not trying
fine.
to be adverse, you know, but
But
you were
we're,
the,
you know,
you were the
we
prime.
move well beyond 28,000. We're into to the hundreds of thousands in this one event alone.
Yes. Well, for the purposes herein, we're
Yeah.
asking for reallocation of $62,000.
And that is the reason that we're at this meeting. You know, when you look back at what happened with the proposal, everyone was at this table with the exception of newest Councilmember Calvin. And I was surprised, I think the chamber was surprised, that the support was unanimous for this event.
Almost.
Almost?
I don't think we voted for it, so.
Our support was for $130,000 to front this event.
Well, I was surprised that there was overwhelming support for the event. I don't want this to become a political football. However you want to characterize this debacle, bailout, as you know, and I could sit on this side, as the chairman said, you know, I'm the only one that didn't support it, and say, I told y'all so. But we're one city, you know, and I got to look at this from just a practical standpoint. So where are we at right now? Where are we at right now? Right now, we are at the chamber asking for us to reallocate funds that they have. Well, here's the interesting thing. The funds are tied to a specific use. It's not like we could go and buy lights in the city, put up some new mediums, use this money to repair our road. Legislators restrict our use of these funds. So we're limited as to what they can apply it to anyway. I would ask council to make sure that you don't make a mistake some of the terminology. You know, again, you know, I can say, well, I'm not going to say it, but we are here right now. Where do we go from here?